Tonight is the night that Kyle Lowry makes his long-awaited return to the Toronto Raptors, the first time he's going to be playing in Toronto since signing last offseason with the Miami Heat, and Raptors fans have definitely been waiting for this day for a while. I'm very glad that this day is finally going to happen in front of a full arena of fans, which has taken a long time to get to that point. But in today's video, I basically just want to go over what Kyle Lowry did for the Raptors, what he means to the city of Toronto, and why he is the greatest Raptor of all time. So let's get into the video. For those of you who have been subscribed to my channel for a while or know me personally, you know that I am one of the biggest Toronto Raptor fans out there. I've been a fan pretty much since around 2014, 2015, that kind of period of time. And just watching Kyle Lowry over the last 6 or 7 years is just an absolute joy. Just the way he plays the game, the passion he plays it with, it's just so entertaining to watch. The little things he does on the court, like take a bunch of charges, lay his body on the line to dive for loose balls, attack the basket with so much force, and just play the game so hard and have so much passion and drive and desire to win. That was the best thing about Kyle Lowry when he played with the Raptors, is just how much he wanted to win, his competitive drive. On every given night, I don't think anyone on the court most of the time wanted to win the basketball game more than Kyle Lowry. He just gave it everything he had on every given night. He was such a vocal leader for the Raptors, and whether it was game 37 of the regular season or game 6 of the NBA Finals, Kyle Lowry would go out there, give it all he's got, lay his body on the line, and just be such a leader for the Raptors, not only vocally but leading by example as well. It was really cool to see how Kyle could take on multiple roles on the court, how he could be more of a playmaker and facilitator and play that kind of way, be a really good defensive force and do the little things like dive for loose balls and take charges, but also how he could just take over games with his scoring ability, getting out in transition, pulling up from three, taking things into his own hands and driving right to the basket and getting buckets when he needs to, taking fadeaway jumpers. It was really cool to see how he could play multiple roles, and when he needed to take over a game, he could do that, especially when he was the number one option on the floor at times. I think overall what makes Kyle Lowry be considered the greatest Raptor of all time is not necessarily that he was the most talented player that ever played for this franchise. Guys like Kawhi Leonard, of course, and guys like DeMar DeRozan and Vince Carter were better basketball players for the Raptors than Kyle Lowry, but I think what it is for Kyle Lowry is, first of all, what makes him the greatest Raptor of all time is the combination of him being able to bring a championship to the city of Toronto and the longevity, and that's what puts him over a guy like Kawhi is. Kawhi was the best player that we have ever seen play in a Raptors uniform. I don't think that's any doubt. He was the best player in the NBA in 2019, and he definitely, on the court, led the Raptors to a championship. He averaged almost 30 points per game. In the playoffs, he had an historic run on both ends of the floor, and of course won the Finals MVP, but he just dipped right after that. Kyle Lowry spent 9 years with the Raptors, and he had to go through some of the toughest times with this team. The Raptors were being clowned in 2017 and 2018 by the entire NBA community when they got swept in the second round back-to-back years by LeBron James's Cleveland Cavaliers. The LeBronto era was such painful times for the Raptors, their fans, but Kyle Lowry didn't do what a lot of modern day players would do and just try to figure a way out of it and request a trade. He stuck with this team, the team that he has already stuck with for 6 years before that, ends up sticking with them for 9 years, really just never gave up on that task of bringing a championship to Toronto and just stuck with it, and that was something that I really admired about Kyle Lowry, and I think a lot of Raptors fans did as well, is how he never ran away from the challenge of bringing a championship to Toronto. And while he definitely was not the number one option on that team when Kawhi Leonard was with them, this is the guy who went into Game 6 of the NBA Finals, and like I said, this is one of the times where he took matters into his own hands. He set the tone for that Game 6. He scored the first 11 points for that team. Without that and a lot of the other impacts he made throughout the entire playoff run, of course the Raptors don't win that NBA championship. If Lowry doesn't stick with them throughout those tough times of LeBron absolutely owning that team in 2017 and 2018, the Raptors don't win the championship. And it was just things like that, and combined with all the other things I've discussed, like the little things he would do on the court to make the Raptors winning type of culture as a team for such a long period of time, and ending it in winning a championship with them in 2019. This is the stuff that really makes Kyle Lowry truly the greatest Raptor of all time. Let's take a closer look at some of Kyle Lowry's hustle stats, which for me, this is really my favorite part of his game, because this is what really showed how much he actually cared about winning for the Toronto Raptors. And ever since hustle stats actually started being recorded in the 2016 and 2017 season, Kyle Lowry has taken 130 charges for the Toronto Raptors from the start of the 2016-17 season until the end of last season, and he's recovered 387 loose balls. That just shows you how much he cares about the game, how much he's willing to dive on the floor. And sometimes with like the charges he took, he led the league for the Raptors 2 years in charges taken, and it was like funny sometimes how much he would, because you would just see someone flying on the floor in the paint, you didn't even know who it was, you didn't see his face, and you just knew it was Kyle Lowry, because of course it was. He was always the guy that would be willing to do whatever it takes. He was always banged up, he was always playing through some kind of little nagging injury because of just how much he was willing to lay his body on the line. And we've really actually never seen anything like this in the NBA. There are guys that take charges a lot and dive on the floor for loose balls a lot, but I don't think there's ever been anyone really like Kyle Lowry. He just played the game so hard, played it so much harder than anyone else on the floor, just cared so much about winning, laid his body on the line. And I think just because of that hustle, that was like kind of the deciding factor that makes Raptors fans just so attracted to a player like Kyle Lowry, is just how much he cares about their franchise and their team getting the wins in the end of the day. Let's specifically look at that 2019 championship run, because this is really what solidified Kyle Lowry as the greatest Raptor of all time, because guys like DeMar DeRozan and Vince Carter, as Raptor fans, we absolutely love these guys, especially me with DeMar DeRozan. I mean, he was like my first ever favorite player in the NBA. I would love to see him win a championship with the Chicago Bulls. I love what he's doing right now, but unfortunately, despite him being so loyal to the Raptors as well, he wasn't able to deliver that championship. And while it was Kawhi Leonard being the real reason why the Raptors did win the championship, in 2019, Kyle Lowry was still really that glue that kind of held together the team. He was the point guard. He was the one who averaged 6.5 assists throughout the entire playoff run. He was the one that led the entire playoffs in games played that year. He was the one who was the locker room leader, the vocal leader. And again, the term I like to use, he was really the glue that kind of held together the team. You take him off the team, the Raptors are a way different team in 2019. And really just what he did in that championship run was amazing. Like I said, his playmaking ability, his defense, his leadership on and off the court, his hustle, and his ability to score the ball and take matters into his own hands when he needed to. Especially, I'll never forget that first 11 points in Game 6 of the NBA Finals. All that stuff that Kyle Lowry really took from what he's been doing throughout his whole career and just applied it a little bit more to a playoffs and a big championship run. That really stood out for me, and that's another one of the really big reasons why he's the greatest Raptor of all time. He was able to lead this team to finally winning that long-awaited NBA championship. Overall, Kyle Lowry in his Raptors career averaged about 17.5 points per game on about 57% true shooting, 37.5% from 3, about 7 assists per game, and about 1.5 steals per game, while being an incredible defender, and the impact going way beyond the stats, as I've mentioned throughout today's video, with his hustle, his recovering loose balls, taking charges, and being an off-court leader as well. He did all this over 9 seasons with the Toronto Raptors, and in those 9 seasons made the All-Star team 6 times, made the All-NBA third team once, and brought the NBA championship to Toronto in the 2019 NBA season. Kyle Lowry, with just his longevity and the way he played the game for the Raptors, is definitely the greatest Raptor of all time, and he's definitely going to receive a very warm and emotional welcome home tonight when the Heat come to Toronto to take on the Raptors. And again, like I mentioned before, I'm really glad that this is going to be able to happen in front of a full arena of fans. This is really the way that it should be happening, and again, it's just going to be a great night to see Lowry come back to Toronto, see just how much the city and really the whole country appreciates his greatness and what he did for the Toronto Raptors over the 9 seasons that he played there. So to Kyle Lowry, thank you for everything you've done for the Toronto Raptors. Thank you for being the greatest Raptor of all time, and we'll see you tonight back at Scotiabank Arena.